Hello, Traveling Machinist here. Today's video we're going to be talking about skills gap in the manufacturing world. This has been coming on for many years. The United States just does not have enough in my world in the manufacturing to be machinist. And machinist is a broad spectrum of areas. I would focus more in on the CNC machinist, setup person slash programmers to the operators. But anyways, what I did is I looked up a couple articles here. Here we got one from the United States Census Bureau. Manufacturing faces potential labor shortage due to skills gap. Okay, this was September 29th, 2023, written by Adam Grundy, if I say that right. And they're talking about diversity, equality, and inclusion right here, which is all great. That's we need. The thing was, we need anybody that's willing to get into this trade to take a look at it. Our youth today doesn't want to get in it, or we're just as a country we're not telling what machinists are, and we can get into that with another video. So here he states there's about 1.4 million manufacturing jobs were lost during the pandemic, but the industry is already facing a potential labor crisis. A projected of 2.1 million unfulfilled jobs by 2030. So we're saying in 6 years that we're going to have 2.1 million job openings for the manufacturing sector. I think it's going to be more. And why I say that is because over the last year, some of I think it was the CHIPS Act by Biden, and I could, do research on that again, but from my memory, we're bringing manufacturing back to the States. And for what reasons, a lot of it's geopolitical, national security stuff. But these are like the big names that you see out there, I think it's TSML out of Taiwan. They're setting up a plant, and again, I can go do a whole video on that stuff. But those are high-end skilled jobs. But there's a lot of skilled jobs that are going to support that factory. So that comes into where, there's a lot more jobs to be had out there. And these are going to be high-paying jobs. They say that robots are going to take over and do all this stuff. Yes, it is a lot easier to manufacture things today than it was running manual machines and doing CNC versus CNCs and robots. But we still need skilled technicians, skilled labor to be able to program these machines, set them up, and make sure they're making quality parts. And that's a whole process, what is too much to get into this video. Today is just about what is the potential for CNC machinist or manufacturing jobs in America in the next 6 to 10 years. So here we go along. So they're saying 2.1 unfulfilled jobs by 2030. And they go into that, diversification and a chart saying that, it looks like mainly people changing jobs are again, in the white sector. And then the diversity comes from this area here from, Asians, blacks, women, Latinos, things like that. So they're trying to get more people into the trades and into the skills of that. And there was a report that came out. Let's see, where is it? And I'm not going to get into too much of the diversity. I'm just focusing on the shortage of skilled manufacturing jobs, or skilled labor of manufacturing jobs. Here's a report done by, let's see here, Deloitte Manufacturing Institute. This report was done, I want to say like 6 months ago. And here they're stating the manufacturing industry netted a loss of 578,000 jobs during the pandemic, a figure that represents years job gains, and yet any given moment in the 6 months, nearly 500,000 jobs have remained open. So what we're saying is only 78,000 people went back to these jobs, and there's a shortage of 500,000 on top of it. And then plus the projected, shortage coming in the next 6 to 10 years, I don't know how these manufacturers are going to cope with it. You know, they need all of these people. Now, with my experience, I've been offered, well, I've been offered a position to do training in house. So, what I see these manufacturers do is to, if you can't get the people in the schools and the VOTEX here in the States, then what they're going to do is just bring training in house, which is good. You know, then they train them for their particular sector or whatever they're building at that moment to create that. But there's a lot of support people, you know, secondary shops, job shops, things of these natures, just can't afford to do that. They rely on the VOTEX here locally to produce high quality skilled machinists. And what I'm finding out from some of the manufacturers I talk to, that's not happening. So, anyways, I digress. Let's get back to this. The main thing is, you know, I'm showing that in the next 6 to 10 years, there's going to be a huge shortage of people, which means supply and demand. If there's a shortage, that means that the price in labor goes up, which then causes the product to go up. Again, I digress. So we're looking here, National Association of Manufacturers. Outlook survey continued to find that attracting, retaining a qualified workforce is one of the top business challenges among respondents. How is this possible given that the unemployment rate remains stubbornly high? Again, unemployment rate is high and we can't find people to do these jobs because they're not skilled in them. They're not certified, they got no experience, you know, and it takes a lot to run a $500,000 machine. You just don't take a guy off the street and say, all right, here, run it, unless it's already set up and proven. That's another story. Then maybe you could hire an operator, but, you know, and that's fine. You know, those jobs exist. So anyways, one of the top challenges manufacturers face today remains skills gap in U.S. manufacturing in 2018. These reports are, you know, a couple of years old, but it hasn't changed. The jobs are here. Where are the people? And that goes into, we could read this whole thing. It's like 28 pages. I'm not going to get into all that right in this video, unless you guys want to hear more about this. And I'll be continuing to do more articles and understanding of, you know, how bleak the manufacturing skills gap is really out there. Here we got an article from Fortune. This was in January 4th of 2023, about a year ago. America has a huge manufacturing labor shortage, and its educational system is now nowhere close to plugging the gap. I would agree with that statement. And like I said, I've been training and ran my own shop, trained my own guys. Before that, I was at a college, an engineering college. So I've dealt with trying to train these people in my life. Here it says the U.S. Navy is beginning to build 12 nuclear submarines, whatever, with the first one scheduled to complete 2027. But it's missing a critical ingredient. Many of the estimated 50,000 skilled workers to get the job done. So you can buy all the equipment you want. You can buy all the land and buildings, but we still need people in there to make this equipment run. And they say it's lack of reliability, supply chains, and infrastructures to build massive vessels. Okay, with the pandemic, we had a supply chain issue, but now I think it's more than just that. I think there's, again, it's probably geopolitical. I have nothing to say one way or the other on that. I'm just reporting on what's happening today. And I'd like to show something that came out of China just, a week ago. This is what China is looking at right now. See if I can do this. I'm going to play this little clip here. It's about a minute long. And these are suppliers from China getting on YouTube saying how bleak it looks. The orders aren't there from U.S., Europe, orders from anywhere. And then also, she'll state that, these jobs are going to Vietnam and I think one other country she states. So what's happening is those manufacturers, again, probably geopolitical, you know, they're moving their plants out of China. And there's multiple reports of this coming out of China. So what does that do? You know, they're looking for cheaper places to go. But in the end, a lot of manufacturing is coming back to the States. We still need skilled machinists here.
Doing foreign trade has been incredibly challenging this year. Fewer people are coming to the Canton Fair. In the past few years, the US was printing money like crazy. Workers could get 500 or 600 without working and then went on a shopping spree. The cost of shipping containers and getting them out was very high. There were containers being sent out but none coming back, leading to a domestic production frenzy of new containers. Now the US has stopped distributing money, and there's a joke that Americans are too busy selling off the inventory they accumulated over the past 2 years to place new orders in China. Once they clear their stock, there might be new orders. Another factor is the establishment of new factories in Indonesia and Vietnam. Their lower taxes, labor costs, and rental costs mean they're capturing the orders that would have gone to China.
And yes, I am working with my new format here to streamline it as best I can. So as I do more videos, it'll get better. So I apologize for that. All right, so what she's saying basically, and I disagree with one of her statements, is that we have 2 years worth of inventory sitting here being waited to be sold. I don't see that. Um, I see more of a geopolitical thing going on, and again, that it's irrelevant to me. I have nothing to do with it. All I know is that we are going to have a shortage of human capital, human beings running and making production parts here in the States, whether it's nuclear subs to pedal pedals on a bike. You know, there's so much into that. I know that they're bringing um, from Taiwan the chipset manufacturer, I think TSML. They're building one or two factories here, and again, I can get into another video about that. If you guys like to see that, you know, hit me up in the comments down below, and I'll do some research on it. So, anyways, I did a little more into like what the local machinists are doing, and it sounds like they're striking. And I also have another thing I want to state here. Okay, so I just pulled this article up, November 20th, 2023. So this particular local union, 1562, has been on strike since the beginning of November. All right, well, here's what I want you to look at. This is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people approximately, okay? I don't see anybody in their 20s here. And I pulled up a statistic. I think I may have it. I'll flip through there. But I found a statistic that's saying that the manufacturing worker base is 55 and older is 25%. So coupled with the shortage, I'm not sure if the stats show that being declined after they retire and they're not refilling those jobs. But I just know that there's, you know, and then once you lose this what do you call it, education or years of experience, how do you regain that? These guys should be, or these people should be training the younger people. And I know it's happening out there. I get it. There are a lot of places doing apprentice and things like that. There's a lot of things that Mike Rowe is doing with his foundation and trying to get things going. But Mike Rowe's been doing this for like 10 years, trying to get people into the trades, whether it be welding or, you know, he's, you know, whatever skilled labor job, plumbers, electricians, you name it. And that's still not even, you know, pulling things together. I'm not sure what the governments are doing. This is one of the reasons I'm starting these videos, is I'm going to start looking at what is the government trying to do to fill this gap. And, you know, because we're going to need things. You know, even if whatever the market does, whatever happens, things are going to be needed to be made. So anyways, they've been on strike since November 1. Uh, IAM members operate CNC lathes, mills, and essentially to producing industrial fasteners for various applications, including freight train, Airbus aircraft, and members are on strike to highlight the wage disparity compared to workers in similar roles nationwide. So, okay, with all the strikes going on, everybody, the auto workers, things like that, um, the bottom line is, there's a demand for machinists, CNC machinists, um, and I feel that's my background. I've been in machining all my life, so I'm trying to do my best here to shed a light on that, and I have some ideas moving forward as to what I would like to do in my personal abilities, and that has to do with the Philippines and creating a program over there, which again I'm getting started. There's nothing in paper. This is all on me. I need people to get involved and talking to different people. I'm going to need sponsors and this kind of thing. But I believe that with the demand, we as in America will not fulfill these gaps. That is what I'm trying to say. So with that said, I can do a whole nother video on that again. My point here was try to show that the amount of manufacturing skills gap in the United States is something that's large. And everybody just wants to get quick on the internet. I get that, but at the end of the day, it's going to be difficult for our youth to have a house, to have a retirement, things of this nature. And these jobs, particularly machinist jobs, in my past, they're long-term jobs. They pay fairly well. Yes, there are pockets that don't pay nothing. You can go to McDonald's, get paid more money. I get that. But that's going to change because those businesses won't be around long if they're not thinking long term. So, anyways, the goal of this video was to show you that there is a skills gap. Everybody knows it, but nobody's doing nothing about it that I can see. Maybe there is some pockets where things are happening. It takes time to get things going. Let's see, where was that article? Was it this one here? No. 3 ways to help solve machinist shortage. This article was done in 2017. They were talking about this, And I'll put all the links of all these articles in the description, so if anybody wants to go ahead and take a look at all that. So, with that said, I'm going to cut this video. I appreciate you watching my videos. Like and subscribe. Throw some comments down in the comment section, whether you like it or don't like it. Give me your heads up, and I'm going to continue to go down this road. All right, till next time, traveling machinist out. Enjoy and be kind.